Hi friends, Melanie here on Monday, 13th of May 2024 with the Astro Weather for the week starting tomorrow, or I should say it's starting today because today is so much going on and goes till next Monday, the 20th of May. So, are you having a drama day? Are you noticing drama in the world, in other people? Are you having a crazy day, a kind of bad hair day? So, all of that can be attributed to the moon now freshly in Leo, having just opposed Pluto in Aquarius. That's always quite a marker of strong, intense, maybe shadowy dynamics. And with Leo, of course, lots of drama comes up. And but it's all about being seen and loved. And then the sun, which rules Leo, is in Taurus. And today, the sun, when will that be? Already happened at 2:14 a.m. The sun met and passed the planet Uranus in Taurus. That happens once a year only. And that itself can feel quite erratic, quite unpredictable, and crazy, even. Or it's about expecting the unexpected and not being attached. So definitely don't go into drama, don't ruin your friendships, Aquarius, but also check out where people's egos, where your own ego is at stake with that Leo solar energy, and Uranus wants to bust it really, right? So letting go of the eager ego, right? All of that would be a good motto for today. And of course, always good to go to the true freedom, to the light, to where none of that matters and you're not attached to outcome. You actually come back to your spirit, come back to your soul, to your heart, and your natural strength. So you're not getting swirled around by all these crazy forces. But it's also a good time to take the pulse of the field, of the electromagnetic field, which can be also heightened with Sun Uranus and being eccentric, like literally eccentricity, but not in a way of being, spun around and losing your center, right? So the eccentric energy, the extraordinary, sparkly energy is very supported with Sun Uranus. And the Sun this week not just passes Uranus, but also at the end of the week on the 18th, the Sun will meet and pass Jupiter. Jupiter, now ahead of the Sun, still barely in Taurus before entering Gemini on the 25th of May, just a week later than, less than 2 weeks from now. So the Sun will pass Jupiter, and that itself is like really a big energy, and it can be on Saturday on building up Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I mean, it's been building up since the new moon, right? The new moon in Taurus is, it's moving towards the moon has already passed Jupiter, and now the Sun moves towards Jupiter. So it's an energy of generosity, understanding, and maybe also from a Taurian perspective, what's the good side of Taurus? Taurus can wait, and Taurus is about enjoying life, right? What can help us enjoy the beauty and bounty of life, of this moment, of this earthy embodiment of nature, of anything that's abundance and nurturing. So moon, sun, Jupiter on Saturday. So they frame basically the sun passing Uranus today and Jupiter on Saturday, the 18th. That frames the week and really is a strong energy field that we're currently in. It's a wonderful energy for paradigm shifts, for also shifting habits, being freer, right? What would make you freer from attachment? And the attachment can be to sticky habits, can be literally addictions, can be anything that keeps you stuck, really, right? And mixing things up a bit is Uranus, right? So, what would help you with your freedom and really kind of a coming out energy out of the closet of all sorts, right? And airing the energy. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, which and the sun rules Leo, plus the moon in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius today. So today is quite a highlight of Sun, Uranus, and Leo, Aquarius, right? So, so all of that has to do, of course, also with the individual, with ourselves, to radiate, to shine as we are, and versus ideally, and that we are all humans, we are all human beings, and we are all an expression. Um, it's our heart is an expression of the constellation of love. So anything that bridges the personal and the humanity and who we are as part of our bigger human system and organism, that is being highlighted here today. And it comes out, of course, also in relationships, because relationships often are activated through oppositions, like in this case, Moon Pluto, right? So you might have your personal needs, and then the other is might be, you know, with Aquarius, see you as one of many, right? Or there could be a conflict between you and group consciousness, right? Or other people, and you might need to navigate all that. So don't give away your individuality and your self-love just to fit in, right? That could be also with Aquarius, can be peer pressure and all of that. And don't impose your ego on the group either, right? That's kind of the two extremes. And yeah, so today lots going on with that. And so I'm glad I'm already shooting this video and sending it out here today earlier than I thought I would, because I also had a cancellation, and then somebody thought she would come in because I messaged her and said, yeah, meet you mañana, and she thought now. So anyway, that shifted, so I'm having time again for the video. Anyway, expect the unexpected. And then also today, Venus, like again, having to do with relationships often, and in Taurus, having to do with value and valuing ourselves, is in sextile with Saturn in Pisces. So it's about joy, and it's about value and enjoying life, but it's also about compassion. So also seeing how, the suffering, right, in the world, in others, and activating that and letting go of all sorts of agenda, right? It was like, oh, but I thought this would go this way, and I would have loved to, connect and having you near or something. And yeah, so Venus in Taurus likes sensual gratification, right? That typically has to do with presence, whereas Saturn in Pisces dissolves, right, and says, oh, well, being connected anyway is much more beautiful and much more relaxed, right? So, and it requires with Saturn, right, a letting go again of all sorts of hang-ups that we have in relationships or in all sorts of fields of life. And Pisces is about going with the flow, right? Really adaptation without like bending over backwards, right? But adapting in a way that is actually creates more ease, right? And yeah, so what's going on with the moon? Since we're with the moon a lot here today, moon in Leo always gets a lot of attention. So the moon opposes Pluto today, and the moon continues to be in Leo until Wednesday afternoon. So this is a beautiful time um, to nurture yourself, to also be creative, be playful, and see the drama, the comedy of life in it all, right? So not taking things so seriously. Also, it's all a show, right? And maybe it's all a um, simulation, as a friend said yesterday. Maybe it's all a simulation here. That would be Leo Aquarius, right? It's a show, theater, but it's also like maybe just it's kind of um, a bit of a sci-fi movie, right? And so the moon goes into Virgo. Things become really grounded, very earthy from Wednesday afternoon on. So from Wednesday morning on, because Mercury will also go from Aries, finally out of Aries, where it's been since early March because of the retro phase, April 1st to 25th, right? And finally go into Taurus. So I get to that later. And then the moon, so Mercury will be in Taurus. The moon goes into Virgo, and there's lots going on in the earth element, right? The sun in Taurus, Venus in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus, the moon in Virgo, Jupiter in Taurus, and Uranus in Taurus. That would be a window, especially as long as the moon is in Virgo as well, Wednesday afternoon until um, until Saturday morning, and still as long as the sun is in Taurus till Monday, the 20th in the morning, we have at least um, all those in Taurus, right? So anyway, those are big Taurian clusters. Really, the Taurian and the earthy top peak of the year, so to say. So definitely a wonderful time to ground out all the energy, to also notice with Mercury in Taurus um, about what you truly value and enjoy. Anyway, okay, I got a little bit off track again. Go back to the moon. So the moon will be in Taurus, as I said, from Wednesday afternoon all day Thursday. Thursday is actually a day where there's hardly any aspect, which is super rare. We had that recently where there's no aspect at all, not even from the moon. Moon not making any connection with any planet. No planet makes a connection with another planet. So Thursday, the 16th, will be similar. Only the moon in Taurus in quincunx with Mars in Aries. Sorry, the moon in Virgo in quincunx with Mars in Aries. That's not a major aspect. So it's will be just about adjusting things we need to look after with the moon in Virgo. Things are always very practical and down to business, organizing things. Mars in Aries might have other ideas or other drives and desires to just do spontaneously this or that, but the moon in Virgo can modify that and say, okay, let's get this done first, and then we do what we want, right? And then we have on Friday the moon still in Virgo, and she goes into Libra on Saturday the 18th in the morning. I heard from a couple, a really interesting online couple getting married. They got married on last Saturday with the moon in Cancer, yes, and yet the moon in Libra is also very wedding and relationship friendly, just in case somebody's considering. Don't do it too spontaneously with the Sun Uranus, right? But it is also with Sun Jupiter a major day on that day, the Saturday, to really enjoy life, be in gratitude, be in generosity, and reach out to others. Moon in Libra, very much about the dance, the balance with one another, and how we can complement each other, and also how we learn so much in relationship. And yet also need to say that Libra is also where the South Node is now until next January. So South Node creates, practically speaking, eclipses, and the South Node is the release point. Typically, um, uh, where the South Node is now, we have release eclipses. So we had a release eclipse, and that showed a lot of the shadow of Libra last October the 14th. That was the annular solar eclipse, the Ring of Fire solar eclipse, the first eclipse with the South Node. Sorry, in Libra. And ring, I have this ring here, right? Anyway, it's a reverse, right? Because you have bright inside. Anyway, so Libra shows us where compatibility is or isn't, right? So the South Node brings out where we actually need to release what's not compatible, what's not really good match for us anymore. And that can have to do with certain relationship patterns, or can have to do with food, with anything that we had in our lives, but it's not compatible anymore, right? And we don't need to negotiate overly if it's losing game, or we don't need to compromise if we compromise ourselves, right? So, and but otherwise, beautiful day with yeah, it's actually interesting because on Saturday the moon will be with the south node while Mars will be with the north node in Aries, right? So Aries is the antidote. Aries is where the north node is, where we say be authentic, show up as yourself, show up for yourself, be more spontaneous, do something about it. Life is now, right? Don't just ponder and sit on the fence with your choices and decisions. Aries says be more adventurous, especially with Mars, right? So that might be a kind of interesting dynamic next weekend. The whole weekend is kind of affected by that, since the moon will be with the south node on Sunday rather than on Saturday, but Mars will be with the north node on Saturday. So Libra, and then the moon goes into Scorpio. Ooh, just at the end of this Astro week, I typically Tuesday to Monday, Monday to Monday, right? So moon goes into Scorpio on the on Monday the 20th in the afternoon at 3:34 p.m., while the sun will be already in Gemini. Now, Gemini and Scorpio, I just said that to a client last week who has both really strong in her chart. The combination of Gemini and Scorpio has to do with alchemy, right? Because with Scorpio, it's more a deep emotional processing, right? It's going deep. And with Gemini, it's about alchemizing the opposites rather than being in division. It's like the cosmic twins, they need to come together and weave that pattern of two in one, right? Not as a couple, but that can have to do also with our inner yin and yang and masculine, feminine, and polarities that got maybe too polarized, right? So bring those together in yourself and see how it actually creates not only an interesting dialogue, which is Gemini, but also synthesis, right? So, and this whole discussion that's been going on about the dialectic, it's been like a very philosophical and in a way also high-tech dynamic. I don't want to go into all that, but it's quite an expression of thesis, antithesis, synthesis, right? So you have this, then you have that. It's just like a domino effect also, or a pool, like you have pool balls, right? And then this dynamic, one affects the other, and the other together actually, if it comes back to the one, if it's like re-engaging with one another, it can create a synthesis. I'm not sure whether that makes sense. So I was kind of two weirdo out there abstract. But that's very much a Gemini dynamic, while Scorpio again goes deep, right? So alchemy in different ways. Alchemy as in processes, deep processes, transformation, and also alchemy of opposites. Then yes, let's just go here to the Sun in Gemini, entering Gemini next Monday, the 20th, in the morning at 5:59 a.m. Pacific. And of course, the Gemini season goes until summer solstice, the 20th of June. And that will be, yes, 20th of June at 1:51 a.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time this year. So I call this the season of light, right? So because light is really increasing, and with the Gemini season, and the days are getting shorter as summer comes, with the Cancer season that starts with summer solstice. And so light and growing towards the light is, and also there's lightness in Gemini. Gemini is kind of a pollination energy. You have a lot of pollination going on, lots of pollinators, and it's the first air sign in the zodiac. It really brings more air energy into the picture, which has been very low lately. Only Pluto in Aquarius had been the consistent air element factor. Otherwise, we've had nothing in an air element, only the South Node in Libra, right? That wasn't really contributing too much, but it did bring up the Libra side to process and release certain sides of it, right? But now Gemini is really kicking in with the Sun and soon Venus, right? What's going on with Venus? Venus will go into Gemini also on the 23rd of May, which will be also the day of the Sagittarius Gemini Cuspy full moon. Anyway, more about the Gemini energy next week, clearly, right? So we're still backtracking here in this last and very strong Taurus field. So Taurus being also about the body and our senses, and the cuspy energy that we're moving to, right, has to do also with listening to our body and the voice of the body, the messages of the body, and also embodying our values and voicing those and expressing those, right? So I call the cusp actually the voice point, right? Voice point in the zodiac. The theme of voice really comes up, like literally Taurus has to do with rules the throat and more like sounds and sacred sounds too, right? And also the sound of our voice. And Gemini rules the messages, right? It can be literally you talking or writing as well, right? So it's about the message, about the content, and so the interface would be the voice point. What else is going on this week? And Mercury enters Taurus, right? So here is Mercury coming finally out. That is on the 15th, by the way, and will be in Taurus much shorter than it was in Aries, only till June 3rd. Aries was super long because of that epic Aries Mercury retro phase, April 1st till 25th. And so now, hopefully, we have come back to noticing what happens in the mind, right? So this is more like Mercury retro brings us to the meta level, right? To understand what's going on rather than being driven by the mind. And now we can also come back to Taurus, our values again, right? Our values, and also since Mercury in Taurus will connect with Uranus again, that the Sun connected with today, Mercury will connect with Uranus on the 31st, or is it the 30th? The 30th of May. 30th of May. So all of this is about, so basically our values and our freedom, right? So think about it and consider what really would it does give you freedom, give you joy, give you excitement, right? And turn you on, right? And lift you up. That's all very Uranus, right? So you can radiate freedom maybe in a different environment. That would be also Taurus. Taurus has to do with the physical environment. It has to do with nature. It has to do what our senses are being stimulated by. And so thoughts, ideas, right? That would be the Mercury part. Maybe writing, communicating, thinking about that, and so on. So Mercury entering Taurus, energy really grounded, right? From Wednesday on until I would say Sunday, because then the sun goes into Gemini, right? And things shift on Monday. Then, yes, we're in the last days now, last week of Taurus, and the last decade, the last 10 days of Taurus, they have a Virgo undertone. So there's again the combination between values and service, or also the body. So, for example, offering a service that really is in alignment with your values, right? And also the the body again, right? And the health of the body. That's very Taurus and Virgo, right? So all of that comes to our awareness even more, feeling into it, noticing what the needs are with the moon, and taking care of those. And also, I said before, that the moon enters Virgo, right, on Wednesday afternoon, while the sun is in the Virgo part of Taurus. So there's another double whammy connection here, right? So that those could be really important days in the year, even, right? To really look after the needs of our body and of our health, and also to become aware of that, to discuss that also with others. That's then the Mercury part, and Gemini coming slowly in. Let me just check with my cheat sheet what else is going on this week as the computer is waking up, and I'm looking at this tile that I created that you can also see on the bottom of the email. If you don't see it on YouTube, if you see it on Facebook or on Instagram, I also have a little tile, little um, information about the main factors of this week. Not the whole content, but just the markers, the astrological ones, right? So we talked about late Taurus with Virgo undertone, early Gemini, then the Libra undertone. I get to that next week, I'd say. Then we have the waxing moon in Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. Then May 15th is when Mercury enters Taurus, and the super Taurian days follow. Then May 18th, the Saturday, is, Venus meeting Uranus. I haven't talked about that yet. And Mars meeting the North Node, talked about that. Sun meeting Jupiter. And then the Sun enters Gemini on May the 20th. So the one missing piece is Saturday, the 18th, Venus in Taurus meets Uranus. So, as I said, today the Sun met Uranus, then Venus meets Uranus on the 18th, and then Mercury on the 30th of May. So Venus meeting Uranus is yet another connection and dynamic between the attraction, in this case, the what we're magnetizing and what we're magnetized by, right? And it comes with Uranus. So Uranus is about brilliance. It's about extraordinary energy, liberated energy, and eccentric energy. It's all about freedom. So really setting your love free is quite the theme with Venus Uranus. It can also, especially since the South Node in Libra is activated by the moon, it can also create friction in relationships that are not in alignment or not really compatible anymore. So the emphasis is still embodying freedom. Uranus is here to stay with us in Taurus until 2026. So these are kind of markers for things to come up and to be addressed and processed. And as the full moon is coming in, we're building with a waxing moon towards the full moon in Sagittarius and Gemini on the 23rd of May. And so that full moon wants to really bring out the truth. Right? So I leave you with this now as I'm signing off and going into another segment of this very spontaneous and unpredictable day. Have a beautiful week, and you can see me again here on this channel next week, unless we see each other in person or online. And something on in terms of events. Yep, Jupiter Journaling Journey is coming up soon, starting on June the 3rd and going for 4 weeks throughout the month of June. It's all about Jupiter in Gemini, and it's very personalized. You can find more out about that on my Facebook page, where the event is already posted and you might already be invited. Anyway, as always, blog posts about all these events on my blog. So wishing you a beautiful week, and until next time, ciao.